G'day, I'm Jeremy Snyder and this is my 100th video on Budaya. I'd like to thank all of my fans, my nearly 200 subscribers for the nearly 200,000 views that I've had in just over a year. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to the students at Iona Presentation College who wanted to get a photo with me because they had seen me on YouTube just last week. So thank you guys. I really appreciate you tuning in. Today's video is called Why I Never Got to Fakfak, How I Became an Indonesian Teacher. Before we get started, Fakfak is the name of a city in West Papua. If you are someone who is easily offended by city names that happen to sound like coarse language in another language, then please turn the Fakfak video off right now. I did my undergraduate degree at the University of Western Australia, and I started out majoring in mathematics and philosophy, but I eventually changed to linguistics because I took a random unit in linguistics and I loved it. I then went on to do my honours thesis on a language that was spoken in the Malaysian part of Borneo called Bundudusun, and my thesis was called Face Type and Dynamicity in Bundudusun. And it was all about how this language encoded time in that language. While I was doing my honours thesis, I also taught linguistics to first year students at UWA, and I really enjoyed doing this. Because I really enjoyed teaching at university, I decided that I was going to become a professor, Dr. Jeremy. And so I applied to do a PhD at the University of Western Australia and also at the Australian National University in Canberra. And I was actually accepted into both, but I chose to go to Canberra. There were several reasons why I chose to go to Canberra, but one of the reasons was because I would be doing my research on a language spoken near a city called Fakfak. Being in my early 20s, I was really excited about this opportunity to get to Fakfak for my research because it sounded like a really interesting destination. But before I could get to Fakfak, I had to learn the language first. And so I started to learn Indonesian here in WA, then I moved to Canberra, and eventually I went to Indonesia to continue to learn the language there. When I got to Yogyakarta in Indonesia, I realised a couple of things. Firstly, it was out of my comfort zone, and I think Fakfak would be even further out of my comfort zone. And I think that if I was going to Fakfak, it would be both emotionally and physically exhausting for me. So for this and other reasons, I decided to suspend my PhD. And that's when I met a girl. Her name was Dara and she worked at Cafe Kopi Luwak in Mall Malioboro. And I had gone there to pakai wifi gratis. And we started dating. And then 4 weeks after I met her, I went back to that cafe and in front of her customers and her friends, I got down on one knee and I asked her to marry me. 2 weeks after that we got married in a traditional Javanese wedding in Yogyakarta, and my family came over for the wedding. I'd fallen in love with Dara and also with Indonesia, and so I decided to stay there, and I ended up staying there for 18 months. And my son was born 1 year after we got married, and we lived in a village on the outskirts of Yogyakarta, in a village where no one spoke English, and so I learned Indonesian through interacting with everyday people and just using it every day. After that, I realised that my passion for teaching linguistics at university could be transferred to a passion for teaching Indonesian at schools and teaching students about Indonesia and the Indonesian language. And so I decided to become an Indonesian teacher. And that, as they say, is sejarah. So the moral of the story is, if you become a teacher and you get married, you will never get to Fakfak. I'd love to hear what you thought of this story and your feedback on the first 100 videos on my channel in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video as well and share it. And as always, have a fantastic day.